Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Woo Woo Wisdom. It's only Friday again.
Yes.
And we are grateful to be here. I think we're good. We're live on Facebook and everything. Good.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, we have our beautiful moderator Rosalie back this week, so
yay. Yeah, we're happy about that. Because it's just fun to see her. Right?
Get to have a little girl time.
Yeah.
Right before every Friday, so that's always nice.
It is nice. I get comfy here. Hey, Dreamstar 88.
Lovely.
Yeah, so we're just sitting here talking about life stuff, and we have one question for today so far. And so we're taking questions if anybody's on live and wants to ask a question. But we also thought that maybe we would talk about how we get messages and how different people get messages, and just kind of talk about it because it's so different for every person.
Yeah, and the way I know that the way we do oracle readings is a little bit different than most of the people that you see on YouTube or Instagram, and so just talking about our process, because we haven't done that in a while. We've been doing this for a while. I know we talked a little bit about it in the very beginning, but we haven't really gone into a lot of detail about the way our process and why we do things the way we do them. So yeah, it'd be super interesting, I think.
Yeah, and I've been doing more energy work and readings in my business this past week and a half. It's just blew up, and I think everybody's kind of feeling like they need an energetic spring cleaning. Need to clean the energy to get ready for releasing and healing, and it feels like people are feeling like that's really important right now for whatever reason, whatever's going on in the universe.
Yeah, just ready to start a new chapter.
Yeah,
need to physically turn that page and blank slate, start a new chapter. Yeah,
and after the last 2 years or so, wonder why.
It's not a shocker,
right? So should we start with our questions, and then we'll chitty chat, and then if we get any live questions, just let us know, Rosalie, over there on the Facebook. So I don't know if Ruth Ann is on with us right now, because we had one question that she put on earlier, and then she sent us one through direct message, and then she said, it's okay, I got the message. So I'm not sure which one that's about. So Ruth Ann, if you're watching, if you will let us know if the one that you sent through DM, if you want us to tap into that, or if you're good. And then her other question was, what did I do with it? There it is. 2 things in one. A sister friend is having open heart surgery to replace a mitral valve. Her husband with dementia will be in respite care until she is strong enough. So, I'm not sure about how to question it. The prognosis for Medicaid for him so that he can have necessary care as dementia is increasing. And he is becoming a little bit combative. Yeah, he had hit her. So, that's so hard. It's so hard whenever you see a friend going through that, especially when it's somebody they love and then they're not who they were anymore. So for Ruth Ann's sister friend, will he get the care that he needs so that she can do what she needs to do, I guess is the question. And what is the energy around her surgery and her healing too?
Well, as you were reading that intuitively, I felt like when you were reading the part about him becoming combative, I heard lashing out. And I think, with the dementia and him having to watch his wife also have health problems, and also not now probably feeling like he doesn't have the cognitive ability that he used to. I mean, I'm sure that there are periods of lucidity where he realizes, what's going on, and just the stress of watching his wife do that. I feel like it was more of a I don't know how to deal with all of this, lash out kind of thing, than it was necessarily the dementia changing his personality, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it wasn't what it appeared to be.
Yeah. I do feel like intuitively soon he is going to need to have, or they are going to need to have care. whether it's in the home or he is in a place to help take care of him, because as his brain declines, I don't think he's going to be able to physically do what needs to be done, unfortunately. And intuitively, I'm feeling like late summer is going to be kind of the time frame we'll have to make some adjustments.
And as you were saying that, I was kind of asking, like, what do they and she specifically need to let go of to, like, make it easier to make that happen?
Mm-hmm.
And judgment came up.
Yeah.
So she may need some help releasing judgment of herself, of not being able to be the caretaker anymore.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a client who was going through something similar, and she just refuses to, like, she is getting help, but she wants to do everything else. The care of him. Because that's been her job her whole life, right?
Yeah.
Be there for her spouse. Okay, I don't think these have reversals. Alright, so I got connecting with nature, so I think something maybe even really good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like being outside in nature, especially with the weather starting to warm out. It might help him to be calm and soothed, and with his mind changing, like just sitting out in a chair out in the yard or something, or on the front porch. And then I also pulled the daughter card. So I don't know if this woman has a daughter that might be able to step in and help out some.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like that's what the message is in that. And then take a pause. So maybe this time that you're having the surgery and you're in recovery and he is, being taken care of by someone else, that you can kind of pause and just, work on your feelings around having somebody else care for him, like the judgment card came up.
Right. And the cards that I pulled were all that glitters in reverse, and then the thinker. And that made me feel like maybe she feels the need. She's not going to feel like she's doing her job if she's not being the caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
Like all that glitters, like that is what makes her a good spouse or good, yeah. And in that is that's the thinker. That's a thought. That's a limiting belief,
mm-hmm.
right? That's a story that we tell ourselves. So just like pausing and allowing that time to heal, I feel like is going to be a time that she can attune to the divine,
mm-hmm.
and maybe release some of that negative self-talk and those limiting beliefs, so that she can allow in the right help for both of them.
Yeah, for sure. And I pulled the 2 of Gabriel, and this talks about friendship. So I feel like, having a close circle of friends will be really good support system for her as she makes decisions about his health care.
Well, and being able to talk through some of these things that maybe she's not even aware of her within herself yet, and being able to like maybe bring that up and have a discussion with her about it, and,
mm-hmm.
and help her work through some of that, so that in the end she can do what's best for not only him but herself as well.
Right. Yeah. Because having somebody else care for him might be the best thing for him as well.
Right.
Once you get to that point, it might. I don't feel like it's quite there yet, but it's coming up. So having the awareness that you're going to have to start thinking about that might be good for her to start working through those feelings around it.
Right. And just to that point, if he is lashing out, or maybe about the guilt of having to put this on the person that you love,
mm-hmm.
right? And so having someone else be a primary caregiver, would also alleviate that within him as well, just like you said. So,
and I also pulled the animal card, and whenever I think about this card for him, I get a vision of my grandmother. She had a cat, and she had dementia really bad the last maybe 5-6 years of her life. And that cat, she would come sit in her lap, and she loved to sit and pet that cat. So, maybe some sort of if you don't have pets or animals in the house, having like pet therapy, because they do that at hospice. They'll have a dog that'll come around. But that could be really good and soothing for his mind as well.
Well, the fact that you said cat, my mother is also in assisted living already, and she doesn't have dementia, but she's cognitive, not as much as she used to be. But she loves animals and cats in particular, but she can't have them where she is. And they now have animatronic.
Oh, cool.
But they're weighted, so sitting them in your lap, it feels like the weight of a real animal. The fibers that they use actually feel like fur. Her cat will make bread. It will purr. It'll hiss. If she walks by it and doesn't speak to it or pet it hisses at her. I mean, it can roll over on its back. I mean, it's good for her because she doesn't have to feed it. She doesn't have to clean the litter box. She doesn't have to do all the care to it. But she gets some of the soothing aspects of sitting it on her lap, petting it interacting with her.
Yeah.
So
I love that. That is so cool.
Yeah.
And it doesn't shed.
Right. And I mean,
feel better.
And they also have babies. They're made out of silicone that they can hold. That they can hold. Yeah. That are weighted and have some weight to it. So rather than bringing something else in that you have to take care of, that may be an option, because I didn't know about those until she was missing her cat so much when she went into assisted living. I just started
looking, so sweet. I love that.
Looking around. Yeah, and they're not really expensive. I mean, I think hers was $100.
Huh.
But I mean,
it's cheaper than getting a real pet.
Yeah, you're going to spend way more than that in a couple of months in food and stuff. So it's all out there.
So I'm going to pull one card for Ruth Ann for the other question that she asked, and maybe a self-care card. Do you have those out?
No, but I have Soul's Journey. That's very similar.
I get it. Okay. So I pulled the card that says, am I consistently showing up for myself? Some trade their dreams for comfort, yet comfort is the enemy of progress. Success requires showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. And even when it feels uncomfortable. It takes guts and an endless vision to stay consistent to your dream. So the action to take is journal where you can be more consistent in your life in alignment with your soulful goals, then show up. So the thing that you were talking about, are you showing up every day? Mm-hmm. Are you waking up and being like, oh, this is going to be a crappy day? Or are you waking up and being like, I'm open to the possibilities of today? Right. So that's one way that you can show up for yourself.
And the two cards that popped out as I was asking, what are the areas that could be of service? Exactly the same thing. Yeah. Discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to, and trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. And you said that you had gotten the message, so I think that's a validation to trust. Trust that gut feeling that you have.
And as we were talking about cats, Gracie decided to join us.
Gracie heard the C word, so she's like, I'm over here.
Yeah.
Little attention grabber.
So let's talk about how we get messages and how it works for us personally, because it's so different for every person. I had a client this week, and she was saying that she has dreams, and she's going to school right now, and in her dreams, she will get how to solve the math problem that she can't figure out. Right. So I'm like, that is so cool. I have crazy weird dreams that have meaning sometimes, but I just dream weird stuff. I don't get how to solve a math problem.
But
I'd be tapping into some Einstein or somebody.
well, that's very much a channeler aspect. Like once you shut off the conscious mind, the subconscious still works on the problem, and the subconscious can allow the help to come in. When I was working a corporate job, I had that happen a lot, where I would wake up. I wouldn't remember a dream necessarily, but I would wake up and kind of in that sleepy space between I'm not fully awake, but I'm not asleep either. It would be like, well, just do blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, that is so simple.
Yeah.
How could I not have seen that? And, sure enough, I go in and do the thing and it fixes the problem. So,
That's so cool.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. I feel like it's a claircognizant thing. Also had in the shower.
Yeah.
When I was working, I would have these epiphanies of just like how a design should work or whatever, and
I do get
just
messages in the shower.
Super
Something about the water, I think.
A thought would come in and it would be super clear that that's how to handle that. So yeah, I totally resonate with that. But it's super frustrating because like in situations like this, or you have this clear knowing and you feel a pull to like do readings and stuff, but the messages don't necessarily come in the moment. Like it's not like I can just sit here and get that answer, to be able to. It's kind of like it's a two-edged sword sometimes.
I think for you, it's going to come. Like the more that you do this, I think it's going to be more.
It takes the practice
easy flowing.
Yeah. To hone in. But if in the beginning, just that channeling aspect is, it's a challenging one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like seeing something or hearing something. Even though they come in subtly, there's a little bit more of a tangible aspect than not. So it's just that's one of the real differences that I see.
So I started this journey back in 2011 or 12 whenever I learned mediumship. No, 2010. 2010. And the teacher that I had, rest his soul, Bob, he was awesome. He taught me a lot about mediumship and about how to connect with spirit. But the way that he did it is definitely not the way that I do.
Right.
Like, he would see things like in a queue. So he would have like things lined up. And so I tried to learn that way, and it didn't work for me.
Right.
So I've kind of had to learn how I work, and whether things are a symbol of something. Like I had someone hand a bouquet of tulips, and this person loved flowers. It's springtime coming. Tulips are going to be blooming soon, and they are in some parts of the country. And so I don't know what that was a symbol of, but she was giving it to the person I was doing the reading for, so I just took it. I'm just going to give you, this is what it was. I don't know what it means. And then, like if people are coming through from spirit, like, people who have passed away, their ancestors or whoever, sometimes I'll see it, or I'll see them and I'll see like 2 steps back. So to me, that's like 2 generations back. And I'll feel, I'll not necessarily see, but I'll feel if it's the mother's or the father's side of the family.
Right.
And also I'll have references that have happened in my life that kind of identify situations that are very similar. So that helps me to interpret the message.
Right.
Because sometimes it's like they're sitting there talking to me and they're saying, yeah, she needs to do X, Y, Z, or, this needs to happen. But sometimes it's just like a feeling, and I just start talking. I don't know what I'm saying. It's like what happens to you whenever you're doing the cards.
Right. And I use the cards as a tool, and I'm using them kind of more or less to hone that skill, like learn. There's always the self-doubt because when you get that clear knowing, you're like, I'm not making that up. But even in just the shuffling, like learning, like that one popped out.
Look what it says.
Is that the one?
It's part of your purpose, girl.
Purpose. Is that the one that I should pull, or do I need to keep shuffling, like trusting?
Yeah.
So even in just shuffling the cards with the claircognizance, it's like allowing same card. allowing your
this for you.
But that just proves that you can use them as a tool to learn to trust what your attention gets drawn to.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I think I'm silly, and I am, and I admit it. I own my crazy. But the thing that has kind of like lately helped me with just that that allowing stuff to pop in has been Wordle.
Really?
Yes. Like I will kind of look around for a 5-letter word, and something will pop up on TV, and I'll put the word in, and I'll get like 2 or 3 letters. And sometimes, and it's like as I started out like getting them in like 4 or 5, and here lately I've been getting them in 2 or 3, just because I'm like letting the word pop into my mind and putting the word in, or looking at the letters and just like getting a feeling if you get them and they're not in the right place, like going, okay, which one of those letters is one of those the first letter, and I'll immediately, like, my eyes will be drawn to one of the letters or the other.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, but just using that as a tool to learn to trust what's popping into your mind. So now it's a competition between me and my husband. He's like, how many did you get? Did you do Wordle today? How many did you get? So if I get it in 3, he's sitting there, like, he'll have like no letters, but he'll just be like racking his brain to try to get it in 2.
That's funny.
So cute.
So I noticed one thing too. So I have a practice here where I see people in person, and I do energy healing, but it's also kind of like a reading, and it turns into that usually. And I don't get nervous before those at all. Like, it feels comfortable because I think I have that safety net of I'm doing energy work, and then whatever comes through comes through. But whenever I do just a reading, it's like my stomach goes flippity flop, and it's like, what are you doing? You can't do this. You know, that imposter syndrome kind of pops in. But then, you know, I know in here that if I show up, Spirit's going to show up, because they always do.
Right.
They never leave me hanging. You better not.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way about Reiki. I don't really get nervous. I get excited. Just kind of like having the thing to do. You know, like as you're preparing, as you're pulling out the table and all that stuff. I get excited, but I don't really get nervous before a Reiki session. But I do get a little bit nervous before these.
Yeah.
Only because it's the same thing. It's like, you know, and I make sure to ask my guides, make sure you draw my attention to the card and to the thing that person needs to hear for the highest and best. But, you know, again, it's like the self-doubt. It's like, you know, are you going to let your mind, are you going to pay attention, or are you going to like try to look at the cards and make it make sense instead of like letting the message pop in your mind? So yeah, it's but I think that's always going to be the struggle when you're in the human body, because you're always going to be fighting against the physical mind and trying to, which drives everything else, and then trying to tune into the spiritual mind, which is kind of like the energy around us.
Yeah, and I think you kind of are in that mindset because, you know, mediums and psychics and readers, you're already kind of doubted, and people are suspicious of you if you're, you know, if you're a charlatan.
A lot of people want you to prove to me that you're in contact.
So you're already in that frame of mind when you do a reading that you have to prove yourself, but you really don't. I mean, if Spirit's coming through, it's going to prove that what is coming through you, because it's not me, it's not you sitting here doing the reading, it's what's coming through us that we are trying to deliver in the most concise, clear way possible.
And what I don't think a lot of people who ask for readings realize is that they're as much part of the reading as the person performing the reading, and as it's like a triangle. Yeah, it's not all of like this side pushing it to that side of the table. Like the energy that they bring to the reading. If they're very skeptical, then the messages probably aren't going to be as clear, because they're not open to a meaning that may not be in the forefront of their mind. Not that I'm saying that you need to make the stuff fit, right? But when you're open and you're willing to accept that information, it can, and the light just like flashed. It can, it can hit you in a different way than when you're sitting there, like with your arms crossed and and your energy's blocked off, and and you're not willing. And sometimes even spirit will be like, I'm not wasting my time on them because they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times when the message doesn't come through, or it's not very clear, or you're not getting anything at all, it's because that person isn't ready to receive anything that you're going to say anyway. So the spirit is more like, this is a waste of time. This is a waste of energy. There's no need. So it's I think a lot of people need to understand that they're as big a part of the reading as the loved ones coming through and the medium themselves.
Yeah, and I think another thing to remember is you may not be able to identify that thing right there in that time, but just like hold on to it, remember it, write it down, whatever, because it may pop back up. And a lot of times when ancestors come through, the people who you're giving the reading to may not have known them. It may have been X amount of generations ago. Like a reading I did this week, it was a woman, and it was 2 generations back, and on her father's side of the family was an uncle, and she didn't know because he died before she was born, but he was coming through with a message for healing for their lineage, and that was his message. So she didn't know him, didn't need to know him really, right?
But did the message resonate with what was going on?
Yes, 100%. So it's just be open to, maybe you don't know what it means right now, but maybe it's going to be clear later.
Right. Yeah. And so knowing that about us and the way that we get messages, just kind of like out of the blue one day, Brenda and I are sitting at her dining room table, and we're just pulling cards. And normally when we would do that, we're setting an intention, and like you would be pulling cards for you, and I would be pulling cards for myself. And I don't remember exactly why we did it, but at one point we decided she was going to pull a card, and then I was going to pull a card about the same thing, and let it be like a clarifying card. And it was kind of like shocking and amazing how the accuracy of what we were asking started to happen. And the more we kept doing this, kind of like the more in awe we were of how clear the messages were for both of us. And it was kind of like almost like a palpable energy in it. And that's why we thought about doing this, and that's kind of what we try to do in these readings, is allow the cards to like tell a story. And a lot of times, like just like what we were talking about before, the card that you pulled, these 2 cards backed up that exact same message. And I feel like that happens more times than not. And sometimes I do feel like you'll get like one side of the story, and I'll get the other side of the story, but when we put it together, it makes sense. So that's what we're trying to do here. That's the method that we use in these readings that we try to do for you guys. Just because it was so strong and so special when we were doing it for ourselves, that it was something that we wanted to share.
Yeah. What were I going to say? I had something to say on that.
Did I ramble too long? I rambled. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say something about that, but I don't remember. But, I was going to talk about how you get your messages. So if you're interested in developing your own abilities, like it may be completely different than the way that Chandra and I did it. Like Rosalie, she's a physical channeler, so she can ask herself a question, and her body will tell her yes or no. She rocks back and forth, and that's a little crazy. But that's how she can, tap into the same thing. It's just a different way of doing it. So, if you're interested in finding out what yours is, there's so many good books that you can read to figure out what type of, because we all are on some level. Some are a little bit stronger because it runs in our family genes too. I mean, that has something to do with it as well.
Well, and even just how open you are. So like a lot of people are just more energetically sensitive than others, and so that leaves them a little bit more open to being able to, feel a presence and allow a message to pop in from that presence. So,
and I feel like when spirit comes in around me, I feel this tingling and pressure at the top of my head, and then I know spirit is in the area,
right,
of some sort. And then I decide, am I going to tune into it? Am I going to, engage with it? Is it my guides? Is it my angels? Is it somebody that I picked up that was on the side of the road as I'm driving down the road? I mean, it can be anything.
And also, not to scare people if you're thinking about examining the side of yourself. It's just like with anything else. It's just like with friendships and relationships in your family. You can set boundaries. You can say, I only want to allow this type of energy. Like I've had periods of my life where it's like I only want to hear from my gods, like loved ones in spirit. Any message that needs to come to me, I will accept, but it needs to come through my gods and my gods only. And that was all because that was all I wanted to develop a relationship with them first, and not have to discern who's who and where's it coming from, and all this stuff in the very beginning. So, it's up to you. It's up to you what you engage with and how you engage.
Right.
So it's always in your within your power to set boundaries of what you want to experience and what you don't want to experience.
You do as little or as much as you want.
Right.
It just is. It's like exercise. So you're exercising your intuitive muscle. Yeah. And anybody can develop it if they choose to. Right. And you don't have to. But it's fun. That's all I'm gonna say. It makes life a little bit more interesting.
It does. It does. And too, I feel like whether we're not asking anybody to believe what we believe, whether you believe or not, to feel like you have that support, like that you're not doing it all by yourself, and that you can go to a higher power.
Right.
And when I say that, what I'm meaning is a higher vibrational level than the physical earth plane, and ask for assistance. Just makes you feel supported in a way that I don't know. It's just special. It's special to me.
Oh, we have so much support around us that we just have to ask. That's it.
Yeah, and call on. So I hope that helped anybody that may be wondering how we do what we do, why we do what we do. And it's just, like I said, it's just fun. It's just fun to sit here and draw cards.
Yeah, it's fun to tap into that unconscious dimension that is all around us all the time, because, if all I did was, like, work every day and clean the house and, yeah, that is so boring. Yeah. Like, seriously. Aww. Cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
I'm sorry, it's agreeing with the support system.
Yeah.
More secure in what she sees and feels. Absolutely.
Just getting those confirmations that there are little taps from people that are out there looking out for you.
Like a lot of people, like the synchronicities. Like a lot of people are like, I keep seeing number patterns and 1111 or 222 or 444. What does it mean? And the thing is, it may not have a specific meaning. It just may be to be that that tap on the shoulder, like to get your attention, to be like, okay, you need to pay attention in this moment. Like, what were you thinking when you saw it, or what were you working on when you saw it? Like, that may have been something that the universe wanted, felt like maybe you were on the right track, excuse me, or something that they want you to pay more attention to, like maybe you were almost at the point of getting an answer for a question. So
Rosalie's getting some taps over here from Spirit. All right, I feel like we need to, like, a final message from Spirit, and I feel like yes. I don't know. Read my mind, girl.
Psychicness.
Oh, these cards are so good. There's not one that could be bad. All right, so for anybody listening, this is probably true. Get out there and get grounded. As an empath, you're highly sensitive, connect with nature. So get out in nature and get yourself grounded.
And that's that's funny because in a membership a spiritual membership that I'm part of, this month the topic is the root chakra. The root chakra. But so again, there's synchronicities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I think Spirit is telling me, and Rosalie's wearing her hematite today. So that message keeps popping up for me. So, maybe Spirit telling me that that's something that I need to work on.
That's a pretty card.
Yeah, and I pulled the card, hope, love, and acceptance. Love is yours. Recognize your divine worth. Choose loving thoughts.
And I look at that as the solar plexus card too, with all the yellow. Like, love yourself in here. This is where your power comes from.
And I feel like that is a validation of what we were saying about the support that you have around you from Spirit. I did find it funny that the cards that we pulled were like the two lowest of the chakras, the lower chakras. Because we were over here talking, it's so fun to talk to Spirit. It's so fun to pull cards, and I get this tingly up in here, and Spirit's like,
get yourself grounded.
Don't forget, you have to be a balanced being.
Yeah.
To be as connected as you want to be.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah. So
cool.
So that's a great ending.
Yeah.
All right. No more questions?
All right, y'all.
That's another episode in the books. We appreciate you watching either live, June 88.
Yeah. Or one fan today. Hey girl.
Hi girl. Or on replay, because we do hope that this makes a bigger reach. We had a new episode of the podcast drop yesterday. It was called Witch Please, and we were just talking about a lot of the connotations of like the kind of stuff like they do with mediumship and things like that. A lot of people associate that with witchiness and anything woo-woo, and we kind of like talk about that topic in that episode. So it was a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah. So check it out, and we will see you guys next week. All right, see ya.
Bye.